All right, so you go to color sky in that photos for PS. Should be in there. You guys see color sky? There it is, color sky. And if you right click that and go to open with, not open with, sorry, why am I doing that? Right click, download. I'm just used to doing this from your file system instead of that. And then once you do that, go show in folder, and you can drag that into, it's going to drive me nuts, into Photoshop, drop it on the menu bar again, and boom, we got color sky. This time we're going to use the magic wand tool, which allows you to select things that are all in the same area, that are all the same color or similar colors, depending on how you have your tolerance and threshold and all that stuff set up. So it says on here, open color sky, save as my color sky. So we're going to go ahead and save as, just so you can have it ready, and then all you have to do is click save later. So we're going to save that as my color sky, put it in your documents, and once you've saved it as that, we're going to go ahead and do the next thing. You'll probably get this thing. You just click OK on it. It can stay a JPEG for now. And we're going to click on the magic wand, which is going to be in the same thing as that quick selection tool. It's going to look like a magic wand in there. And then I think we're going to select the sky, but I want to double check. Yeah. Click any part of the blue sky, and it will select almost everything in there except for subtle variations in the color, like the darker part up there, like anywhere where it starts to change, it's going to do that. So up here in the tolerance, you can actually adjust that. The more tolerant it is, if I do 100, watch what happens. Selects almost everything. If I do 200 and click up there, it's going to select way too much. So I'll go ahead and put it back on 100. Default is usually 32. So if you want to set yours back to default, you can. But we're going to do that with the sky. And if you hold down Shift, just like before, you can add to your selection. So if you need to get those extra edges, you got it. So this is a really quick way to select, but it only works really if you have things that are all the same color in that area. So we're going to do that. And then the next thing that we're going to do is go, oh, this one's fun. We're going to go to Image, Adjustments, Hue, Saturation. And with hue saturation, you're going to have the ability to change the color of the sky. So you can make things look like, I don't know, like you're on like Mars or something. Or you could do like some weird green sky. You can adjust the hue, but you can also make it darker, and then adjust the saturation. You can actually make it darker and more saturated, and you can get something that looks more like the nighttime sky. Only problem is the building is very light still, so it's almost like there's spotlights on it or something. But you can kind of play around with that, and if you have preview checked, you can see what it looks like. If you don't, click that preview. And there are other things you can do. You can go to presets. You can be like, I want to do cyanotype. Boom. And so what that does is desaturates a little bit, and I don't think it does anything with the hue. You can do increase saturation more. So a lot of these things have presets like that. You can do sepia if you want to make it look like an old photo. Yellow boost, all that stuff. I'm going to go ahead and resaturate mine. I'm going to make mine red. So when you drag it along the hue, it's basically changing the amount based on the amount of color on the color wheel based on the color you already had there. So if you want red, you might have to move it a little bit to the left of where red normally is. Woo. So I'm going to do red. When you click OK, if you want to get rid of your selection, just go select, deselect. And you can see the selection's pretty good because it goes right up against the edge, so you don't get this weird outline or anything. So you can kind of do some cool stuff with that. The next thing we're going to do with the building outline. Oh, okay. So now we're going to go back, make sure that's selected again. You might have to reselect. And then if you go select inverse, you can actually move the building around on this. So you could think that's all they said on there, right? Select the move tool and move the building. Yeah. So whenever you do select inverse, it's just going to select the stuff that you didn't have selected before, and then unselect the stuff you did. All right, so what we're going to do is go ahead and go File, Save on that, and you're going to end up turning that in a little bit. Save. And the next thing we're going to do, ooh, this is fun. We got a bunch of stuff on this one, but we'll finish it. We're going to merge photos. So we are going to open up background and foreground, which are both located in here. So we're going to have to do a couple, or located in here. So we're going to have to do a couple things with that. If you go foreground, download, and then we've got to find background, download, background, download. We're going to take both of these. So if you go to show in folder for one of them, and then locate your files. So if you have foreground, if you hold down control, or is it shift? No. Why is it not? Mine doesn't seem to be working that well. Hold down control and select more than one. You can drag both in at the same time into your menu bar, and both files open. Now, the next thing we're going to do with this is we're going to use the window arrange tile. So if you go window arrange tile, what's going to happen is it's going to range tile. It's going to put all of your pictures up on the thing as like instead of as tabs as 4 different tiles. So you can go ahead and close out the ones that you're done with. And what we're going to end up doing is putting this boy on the moon. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to use the magnetic lasso tool or any other tool you want. You can use any of those selection tools. Instead of using the magnetic lasso tool, what might be a better option for that boy? You go to window, arrange, tile. Yeah, there you go. So it might be a better option to use the magic wand on this, but of course you'll want to check that tolerance there, make it 32 again, because if it's at 100, you're going to be selecting his helmet too. And then once you've selected everything but him, how would you select him? Select inverse. See, you guys are catching on. Some of you guys probably already knew this stuff. All right, so we're going to take that boy, select the move tool. Yeah, so, oh, here we go. It actually wants us to use the feather real quick. So to use the feather, if you go select, modify, feather.
Pardon this interruption. Teachers and students, senior pictures today are in the auditorium lobby. Only those students that have their scheduled times are allowed to go down there. Please make sure you know that the location is the auditorium lobby for senior pictures. Thank you.
All right, so if you go select, modify, feather, I think that's what it was. Let me try it again. Select, modify, feather. Yeah. What do they say on here? 20 pixels to soften the edges. So if you type in 20 for the radius and then click OK. Ooh, that's a lot. Wow. I wouldn't do that. I would just do select, modify, feather. I'd make it more like 3 and click OK. What it's going to do is it's going to soften the edges of your selection. So when we move him on there, instead of having it be rigid and stuff, it's going to kind of fade. It's going to anti-alias and all that stuff. So if I use this move tool now, this tool, and drag him from here to there, boom, there he is. And we added him as a layer. Question? Yeah. Yep, you're good. All right, so I just clicked and I used the move tool and moved him from there to there once item selected. So that added him as a layer. So if you look in the layers, you can move him independently still and it doesn't mess up your background. So that's probably a better option if you're trying to bring something in and make it so that you'll be able to change it later. So I got my little skater boy. And let's see. Select the move tool, drag skater to the background file. We already did that. Notice the 2 layers on the background file. I already did that. Oh, check this out. If you go, while you have layer 1 selected here, if you go edit, free transform, you get the little box that allows you to rotate and resize the kid. So I can make him do a handstand here. I can also shrink him and make him bigger. So if I do that, make it look like he's like just kind of chilling over there. Hello. What's that? What were you saying? Oh, okay. The feather. Well, it's too late now because you already have him over there. But feather is just under select modify, but you don't have to do that. It's up to you. You can try it out. But. All right. So I got my little kid up here. He's doing that, and you can kind of play around, do different things with him, whatever. The next thing we're going to do is just go ahead and save this file, save as, and we're going to call it my background. But it's going to save as a Photoshop file, and I'm going to ask you guys to do the same. Like, don't change it to JPEG, because if you change it to JPEG, it's going to flatten it. You never know. You might want to come back and goofily position that boy in other pictures and stuff. I don't know. You probably won't, but if you decide you do, could be fun. You could stick him on a sandwich. Skater boy sandwich. All right. The next thing we're going to do is a cool effect that some of you guys who are Instagrammers will probably recognize as an effect in Instagram, but this is how you do it in Photoshop. So we're going to open up Vignette, Vignette, which is located somewhere in this list. I should just sort it, shouldn't I? Yeah, it's the violin girl. There it is. Right click, download, show in folder, drag, Photoshop, menu, bar, drop. I'm closing out the other garbage on here now that I'm done with it. So we got the little violin girl. So with a vignette, what you guys are going to end up doing is you're going to make sure black and white are the background and foreground colors. So if you go down to here where it was blue before, we're going to change it to black. And then click the other one. And we're going to change that to white. So depending on how you have your, what you have your cursor on for these things, you can adjust it there. When you click OK, you should see black and white in there, and you can swap between them as you know. And in that vignette, we want to select the elliptical marquee tool. So if you go back to the elliptical marquee, and then where it says feather, we're going to make it a 20 pixel feather for this. And just go kind of up in the upper left-hand corner and draw an oval around her. It can overlap her a little bit. It's going to have to. And we've created a feather selection, but you can't tell until the next thing. So the next thing that we're going to do, once you've done that and drawn the ellipse, we're going to go select inverse, and then go edit, cut, and watch what happens. So you go select, you have her selected with the feather option in the options bar, and then you go select inverse once you've selected her with the elliptical marquee tool. And when you go edit cut, it's cutting away all that stuff that was outside of her, like oval here, and it's going to whatever your background color is. Now if you go edit undo, you can swap these colors so it's black instead, and you can go edit cut, and then you have more of what the Instagram version of Vignette looks like, where it has like the darker corners. So that's how you do that. I'm going to go ahead and stop this here.